For some people, the scariest thing about reselling is creating the listing. So if you want to learn how to make the perfect listing for Poshmark as well as eBay, Mercari, and Kidizen, then stay tuned.
Won't nobody love you the way they should. Won't nobody check up on you, make sure you're good. Won't nobody check those body buttons for your neck.
Hi everyone, my name is Becky Park and I'm a part-time reseller on Poshmark, eBay, Mercari, and Kidizen. And this week we've been talking about all the different things that you need to do in order to find success as a reseller. And we haven't just been talking about like what kinds of things you should buy or even, things like how to create listings and whatnot, but really we've been focusing in on how to create consistent habits so that you don't just do a great job with your reseller tasks like once and then kind of stop and wonder why you're not making any sales. But we talked a lot about some of the things that you have to be able to do in order to be a successful reseller, and then how to do those things over and over and over again with consistency in order to continue seeing some really great results. This is all part of the summer listing challenge that I'm hosting, and it actually starts tomorrow. This is airing on June 11th, 2020, and the listing challenge officially starts on July 12th. And so if you are seeing this before July 12th and you still haven't signed up to join the listing challenge, you can click on the links down below. But today we're going to be talking about creating the perfect listing, and we're actually going to list something together on Poshmark so that we can talk about some of the best practices when it comes to creating a listing on Poshmark. And we'll talk about how there are some differences, obviously, between listing on Poshmark and some of the other platforms that I mentioned. And I'll talk you through those differences in the tutorial. If you're excited to watch me list something, hit that like button and let's go. All right, so we are going to go through the act of listing something on Poshmark, and then we'll also go through the act of listing that same item over on eBay, Mercari, and Kidizen. But for those platforms, we are going to actually go to them from ListPerfectly. So, one, it'll kind of be like a tutorial on ListPerfectly, but you'll still see the same information. It'll just be a lot faster, so I don't have to, keep inputting the same information. So, what we are going to list together today is a dress from Free People. And what I'm going to do, I talked about this, a few videos ago, but I talked about how I like to draft items from my phone because that's where I take my pictures, and I will start the listing on my phone, upload all of the pictures for that listing from my phone, and then on my laptop, you can see right here, I can click on my drafts, and here is the draft of the dress that we are going to list today. And so I'm going to click on it. In yesterday's video, I also talked about looking up comps and how to price things. And so I actually did a little bit of that work before, but I'm going to talk you through it really quickly just so you can see it in real time. So Free People, and sometimes brands obviously like Nike or J. Crew, Madewell, Cabby, a lot of times they will have style numbers on their tags, and Free People will sometimes have it on their tags as well, but it won't say style number. It'll say like OB, and then it'll have numbers after that. This particular dress didn't actually have anything, and so I had kind of a hard time figuring out what the dress was called or finding stock photos or anything like that. But eventually, as I was looking up comps for it on Poshmark, I just tried typing in different keywords and stuff, and finally, I think I had been searching under like Free People mini dress, and then I saw an identical dress to this. I clicked on it, and it was the same dress, but that person had, the information as far as the name of the dress and all of that, and that's how I was able to also figure out what I wanted to price it at. And I'll show you really quickly. So let's open up Poshmark actually, because I want to show you just a little bit of kind of what my thinking was as far as how I wanted to go about pricing this. So this is actually called the Free People Beach. It was called the Fit and Flare Hollaback dress. And when I looked yesterday, there were only 2 listed. Mine is in a size small. This is also in a size small, but it is in a different color and it's new with tags. This one is in an extra small, and that is identical to mine. So there's that. So initially when I look at this, I think to myself, okay, so mine is the only one in its color and in its size, so I could probably get away with listing it at $50, but I also want to make sure to check and see what these have sold for recently, if they even have. So here you can see this person had the same dress in the same size. It only sold for $20. So personally, even though like there aren't that many, I don't know. It's like I could go about it a couple different ways. I think for now, I'm just going to go ahead and list mine at $50, just like the other person. I initially want to like listed at 48. That's my natural inclination, but you saw in yesterday's video again that it makes much more sense to list at 50 because then I can hit both price brackets when people are looking to filter. There's a filter for $25 to $50 and then a filter from 50 to, what is it, like $100. And so if I go ahead and just price mine at $50 like this person did, then I can definitely make sure that people who are looking for Free People dresses within the $50 to $100 range and $25 to $50 range, that my dress will come up as well. And so I am going to go ahead and price mine at 50. That gives you a little bit of information as to how I figured out, you know, what the dress was called and what I wanted to price it at. And then to be honest with you, like, I mean, the stock photo is cute, but I kind of feel like my photo is fine. Like, I generally will only use stock photos if I feel like this garment just looks like trash on the wall or however else I'm trying to photograph it. But this, I think it looks good. It shows what the dress looks like. I'm good with it. All right, so let's go ahead and list it. So this is the Free People Beach Fit and Flare hollaback dress. That's like the most important information that I need to have in the listing title. If there is like a name for the dress, I do think that that helps. But I'm also going to, because I have 5 characters left, you have 40 characters on Poshmark to work with your listing title, which honestly I wish it was more, but it is what it is. I'm going to go ahead and put in mini dress, just so if people don't know the name of this dress, that's how I ended up finding, you know, other comps for this particular dresses. I searched Free People Beach mini dress. If I had more space in my title, this kind of takes up a lot of space, this Free People Beach. So that's why I don't have as much, that's why I don't have as many characters to work with. But if I had more characters, I would probably put in the color, because oftentimes people are looking for specific colors when they're looking for garments. I might put in the word like summer, because it you know, it's a perfect dress for summer. And then I think fit and flare, you know, this is actually in the title of the dress, but just that idea of this dress being a fit and flare dress, that's its silhouette, I think that could have helped too. So there are a lot more keywords that I could have incorporated in here. This is all I have room for. Also, if I have room, a lot of times I will put the size as well, but I don't think that the size is as important, just because they have a spot for it here. And when people are looking at listings, you can see like right underneath the listing itself, they have a section for the size. And they also have a section for the brand, but I think it's really important to put the brand in the listing title. I think it's important to start with the brand, to be honest with you. I think it's also really important not to waste any of our characters on really general words, like general adjectives. So a lot of times I'll just see people write cute dress, and maybe there is, you know, a group of people out there who get on Poshmark and they type cute dress into the search bar. I don't think that it's that many people. And so I think it's just really important that you really look at the garment that you're trying to sell and ask yourself, if someone was shopping and they were typing words into the search bar, what kinds of words would they type in order for this to pop up? And those are the words that you try and use. So just be really careful about, you know, what you are using your characters on. You don't want to waste your characters on words that aren't actually going to help people find your garment. So this is what I'm going to go with. I'm really proud that I have 0 characters left, and I think that this will do a good job of hopefully helping people find this dress. For description, I'm going to go ahead and write just a little bit about the dress. I'm not going to get into like a crazy amount of detail, just because I don't think that people are reading the description for you to like explain how they could style it. I think they just want to know, you know, if there are any flaws. I think they want to know measurements. I think those are the kinds of things that they want to know. So I will just start off by saying this black mini dress from Free People Beach is perfect for the summer. And maybe I'll say this black mini dress from Free People Beach is comfortable with its fit and flare silhouette. Perfect for the summer. Okay, so I think that that gets enough information in there. I did go ahead and put in the word black just so it's like written in the description somewhere. I did write fit and flare again just so that that shows up again. If I wanted to, I could write like hollaback. I don't know that there are that many people that know that this is called a hollow back dress, but I have it in there just in case people are looking for it specifically. But this is what I'm going to put for the description. And then this is not my computer, actually. I'm filming on my husband's, but on mine, I have a text expander so that if I type in the word item with an exclamation point, out will come the next 3 sentences that I'm going to tell you. And it saves a lot of time. I don't have that text expander Chrome extension here, and by the way, it is absolutely free. And I do have a video on text expanders for your computer as well as keyboard shortcuts for your laptop that I will link right here, but I'm just going to go ahead and type out what I have, input into my actual laptop. So when I type the word item with an exclamation point, out pops the sentences. It is in excellent use condition with no holes, rips, or stains. Measurements are shown in the pictures. Bundle with other items from my closet for the best deal. So I think that these 3 sentences that, again, I am able to pull up within like seconds, I think they're really important because the first thing that it addresses is the fact that it's in really good shape. Obviously, if this dress did have a hole in it or if there was a stain, instead of writing it is in excellent use condition with no holes, rips, or stains, I would put there is a small pinhole near the label on the back, but it is in otherwise good use condition. And then I would take out the word holes because obviously there is a hole with no rips or stains. So, I'm trying to, oops, I need an S there. I'm trying to give I'm trying to give the potential buyer as much information as I can about the condition of the dress. Here I am addressing measurements. I talked about this in the pictures video that I put out this week, and I will link that right here, but I don't actually write out what the measurements are and put them in my description. I feel like that's super time consuming, but I just lay the garment down wherever it is that I'm taking pictures, and I just take pictures of the measurements, and that just seems to go a lot faster for me. So I say that the measurements are shown on the pictures. I have them right here. You can see how I do my measurements, and honestly, for things like dresses and tops, I just do underarm to underarm and then the entire length. I know some people like hips, but I don't find that that's a measurement that people require very often. If they ask for it, I will of course give it to them, but those are the 2 that I give, and I let people know that in the description. And then finally, I make sure that people understand that they can bundle with other items from my closet for a better deal, and that encourages people to bundle. As far as measurements are concerned too, if the garment that I am trying to sell uses vanity sizing, I will usually put that here. Like I'll say this is a Chico size 1, which is the equivalent of a US small. Or if something doesn't have a size tag and I'm estimating based off of measurements, I will make sure to write that in here because I want people to understand why I'm, calling this a size small. And then some other things that you can put in the description too. I know that sometimes I have an issue with color. This is clearly black, but sometimes I have an issue with something if it's like between gray and blue or something. I will put a note in the description about the fact that it's really hard to tell what the color is, and I think that the color skews more blue than gray. I think it's just really helpful with that kind of stuff, at least to provide as much information as possible. And then the last thing that I'll say about the pictures here, some really cool tips that I've heard from other people. I know Voyage is a Verb has talked about this, and I know Kristen from Voyage is a Verb stole this from another reseller, and I don't remember who. Not stole, she credited that person on her Instagram, but on her Instagram she talked about how using Canva, she created a little, square image picture that she puts in all of her listings now that Poshmark does allow the 16 pictures, which is amazing. And so she uses one of them to basically show a picture of her and her husband and to tell them a little bit about their business and to encourage them to bundle. They'll also, talk to them a little bit about their shipping times and tell them that they have a cat-friendly home, or I don't know. It's just a really great spot to put some information. It's a great way to put a face to the person who is selling the stuff. So that's definitely a really cool option too, to put that kind of information in the photo section. And then also on the topic of Chico's or Ted Baker or some of these other brands that use sizing that is different from US sizing, sometimes in the pictures I will also include a screenshot of their sizing guide so that people can can see with their own eyes, okay, a Chico size 1 is a size small. So a lot you can do with, the picture section as far as like what kinds of pictures you're putting in there. A lot of information you can choose to put in the description. However, you only get a certain number of characters. It really isn't that much. Sometimes I find that I run out. So you want to be concise and also understand that most buyers are not going to read a novel if you put it in here. So the description is another place where you can put things about your shipping time. You can put things about, your items are coming from a smoke and animal-free home if you want to put that kind of information. But this is my go-to. I think it works pretty well. It's, something that I'm able to get into every listing really quickly because of my text expander and keyboard shortcut tools. So that's what I do for the description. For category, obviously you want to make sure that you are choosing the correct category. I have found sometimes that I accidentally listed like a men's shirt as a women's because I just was moving too quickly and I wasn't paying attention. So you want to make sure that you're listing under the right category. I'm going to obviously click on dresses, and they have these different subcategories, which is optional. For the most part, and I think this also pertains to eBay, if you are able to put in the item specifics, it helps too. I mean, I think it's only going to maximize the ability for people to find your items in search. So for me, I'm going to say that this is a mini dress. I do feel like the subcategories for dresses on Poshmark are really limited, but whatever, it is what it is. Single quantity, yes, I don't have like more than one of the same type of thing. If I did, sometimes people will click this because they get things via online arbitrage and they'll have like 8 pairs of the same jeans. And even if they are in a variety of colors or a variety of sizes, you can still select multi-item here. For the size, I'm going to go ahead and put small because that's what it is. But you'll see up here, and I didn't really realize this until, I don't know, it was like a few months into Poshmark, but they have different options. So if this happened to be a plus size dress, for example, I would want to put plus, or if this was a small petite, I would want to choose petite as the size category, or if this is junior. So if your item is from a store like Hollister, they go by junior sizing, and so you want to make sure that you click juniors, maternity, all those kind of things. But mine is standard. I'm just going to go ahead and press small. New with tags, it is not, so I'm going to say no, and I am going to go ahead and click no, even though it's optional, because I did have an issue with ListPerfectly probably a few weeks ago at this point where I could not get my stuff to cross-list from Poshmark for the life of me, and we figured out finally that it was because those items didn't have this selected. I didn't select no because I used to just leave it blank if it wasn't new with tags. So now I take the time to go ahead and click no, even though I'm sure they've fixed that bug over on ListPerfectly. But just to save myself the time and trouble, I just go ahead and click no. It doesn't take very long at all to do that. The brand, I'm going to go ahead and put Free People, and they don't even have Free People Beach or Free People Movement as options. So Free People, I think, just encompasses all of the Free People brands. This is clearly black. I do think though that you can use this color section pretty strategically. Obviously, if the dress was black and it had a white trim to it, or if it was white and black striped or something, I would put black and white. But I saw in I think it was either a YouTube video or an Instagram post of Mackenzie's from McThriftsy that she had a case opened up against her on Poshmark because the buyer said that the item was not the color as described. And McThriftsy had put in this section here, I don't remember exactly what the colors were, okay? But let's say it was gray and blue. So she had a garment that it was really hard to tell if it was gray or blue. It really, would change depending on the light. And so she really thought that it skewed more blue than gray, let's say. Again, these are random colors that I'm choosing because I don't remember what her exact scenario is. But let's say she thought it skewed more blue than gray. So what she did was she put blue first and then gray for the color. And in the description, she wrote something along the lines of, this color could skew either blue or gray, but I think it's a little bit more blue than it is gray. And because she put that in both her description and even explained her reasoning for why she picked those two colors when she listed the item, Poshmark ruled in her favor. And actually, I think the buyer also was okay, I see that, thank you. And she was totally okay with it. So definitely it's optional, but I would put what the color is there just to save your own butt in those kinds of instances. I know I've had situations where maybe I took a picture of something and it's gray, but it comes across as more black in the pictures. Like, I will make sure to put black here, and then I will also write that in the description. Okay, I changed locations because I was filming in the playroom and the kids came into play, which is, you know, what you're supposed to do in a playroom. So moving on, I was talking about color. I would be thoughtful of that. I would take the time to select the color just because, again, maybe it'll save your butt in the future. Maybe it'll help, you know, buyers make sure that the item is the color that they wanted. And then for pricing, okay, so there are a lot of theories around this. For the original price, I personally do not take the time to track down the actual item and figure out its original price. I think that that's a waste of time. Personally, when I'm shopping on Poshmark, I don't really care what the original price is. I just care more about like how much can I get it for. And I understand like people want to know the original price because they want to know what kind of deal am I getting. But again, that's just not something that I want to take the time to figure out because I think that my time can be better used elsewhere. I also am not a huge fan of the idea that you should guesstimate what the original price is and then just throw that in there. I feel like I've seen a lot of people do that, or I've heard people do that. I don't know, that doesn't feel right to me. Like, I feel like it's a little bit misleading just because you don't know if that was the original price or not, but you were just saying that it was. And then another thing that I see a lot of people do is people will just put like a random, you know, series of numbers, or they'll write like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then that way too, like if they use like a really huge number, then it looks like they offer such a steep discount. Again, I just go with the 0 because that's my way of letting people know, look, I don't know what the original price of this was, but this is what I'm willing to offer it to you for. I did see over here, or maybe it was like in the sold listing, you can see like these people also just put 0 as the original price. But I think that when I looked at the sold listings, it looked like this person said that it was $78. That could very well be true, but I don't know for sure, and I don't want to go and check. If I look up a dress like this and there are like 20 listed and everyone is saying the same thing as far as the original price, and I'll just kind of assume that they're right. But otherwise, I just put 0 as the original price. Obviously, if it's new with tags and I can see what the item cost originally, I will put the original price, but I'm not going to go out of my way to look for that price. And then I already talked to you about my listing strategy for this, so I am going to list it at 50. By no means am I expecting to get 50 for this, but I'm just going to go ahead and put 50 on here. Let's just take a quick look really quickly one more time. Pictures look great. There's nothing else that I really want to put in there. There is the title. I used up all of my characters, my description. I have the category, the quantity, the size. It is not new with tags. I have the brand, I have the color, and I have my price. So now I'm going to click update. It's going to list the item. I do share to Pinterest. A lot of people swear by that and say that they get a lot of sales through it. I don't really know if that's true or not. I do wish Poshmark would come out with a feature where they tell you where your sales are coming from. Like, are they coming from Instagram? Are they coming from Pinterest? Are they coming from people just searching on Google and your item happened to pop up? I wish they would tell you so that we know as sellers like where to invest our energy. I don't put my stuff on Facebook, Twitter, or Tumblr. I don't have Twitter or Tumblr, so that's the main reason why I don't put it there. And I don't put it on Facebook because I don't want to clog my personal Facebook feed with, you know, all of my Poshmark stuff. So that is listed. Now what we are going to do is we are going to cross-list this to the other platforms so that you can see what that process looks like and so that we can talk about the perfect listing for eBay, Mercari, and Kidizen. So I'm going to show you really quickly the really cool way that you can cross-list on ListPerfectly. So these are all of the different platforms that you can cross-list to. They have Grailed, Mercari, Poshmark, eBay, Etsy, Tradesy, Facebook Marketplace, Depop, and Kidizen. Out of these 9, I sell on 3. Well, 4 technically, but Facebook Marketplace, they have a pretty sweet deal with Kidizen where if you list something to Kidizen, in their like settings section, you can turn on an automated cross-listing feature from Kidizen to Facebook Marketplace. So essentially by listing to Kidizen, I am automatically also cross-listing to Facebook. And I have made a few sales that way, so that's pretty amazing. But I'm going to go ahead and copy these 3 listings. The really cool thing too that I will show you really quick, I'm not going to like actually do it, but let's say I know today I want to cross-list these 5 items. What I can do is I press start selecting and I select 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I press stop. and then I select which items I want to cross list those to. I press copy, and a bunch of windows will pop up with those listings in those 3 different platforms that I selected. It is a huge time saver, and when I interviewed Alex from ListPerfectly in Monday's video, and that was about consistency, she told me that the record was someone cross-listing 150 items at one time, which is crazy to me. I usually go in batches of 5. She said she usually goes in batches of 10, but that is a really cool feature that ListPerfectly has, is that bulk cross-listing tool. So anyway, I just want to cross-list this one for now just to show you, what it looks like and what I'm going to do as far as listing on eBay, Mercari, and Kidizen. So we'll go ahead and start with Mercari. So as you can see, they went ahead and uploaded the pictures for me already, so I don't have to do any of that work. The super annoying thing about Mercari is they only give you 40 characters to work with. So I typically do find that I have to edit down my original listing title from Poshmark to Mercari. So, before I had put Free People Beach Fit and Flare holla back mini dress, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out this holla back because I don't think that people care that much about that name of the dress, and furthermore I don't think maybe that many people will know that it's called the holla back dress. So I think I'll keep the fit and flare because that is part of the name of the dress, but then it also helps describe the dress, and I will keep mini dress. It went ahead and copied my description over, which is great. I used to take this part out where it was bundle with other items from my closet for the best deal, because that's not really the terminology that people use for Mercari and Kidizen. I just leave it at this point because I don't really care. And I do want people to know if they want to bundle, they can save some money that way. Mercari does this thing with tags. I do go ahead and put in tags. I don't really know what I'm doing when it comes to tags, but I'll just go ahead and put in Free People. I'll put in Free People Beach, and then I'm going to just put summer dress. If you do tags differently, let me know. This is what I've been doing. Again, I don't really know if it helps a whole lot, but it doesn't take that much time to do it, so I just, fill something in. And then for the category, they will give you a bunch that they think your item seems to fit under, or the closest fits, but if none of these are a good fit, you can go ahead and go through it kind of manually yourself. But I would say this is an above knee mini dress, so I'll go ahead and click that. And so it's filled out the rest of the category item specifics here. They did have the brand already transferred over from Poshmark. Dress occasion, I'm just going to put casual. Dress style, this is where I can again click on fit and flare, and this is what I mean by I feel like Mercari and eBay are a little bit more aligned when it comes to the different styles that they have as item specifics for dresses. I think even for a few other different categories. So I wish that Poshmark would just kind of make theirs a little bit more similar to Mercari and eBay as well, but it is what it is at this point. The condition, I'm going to say mine is good. It's gently used. It's not new because I do think it's been worn. It's obviously not new. For fair, I would put fair if there were a couple holes in it, or if the hem was coming undone. Yeah, I mean, you want to be honest about that stuff. And poor is if it's in poor condition. It is black. The size is a size small. That was all imported from Poshmark. I'm going to go ahead and put in my zip code. And then for things, okay, I keep going back and forth on shipping, but I think that moving forward for Mercari, I am going to offer free shipping for items that are under £1. And then for things that are over £1, I think I am going to go ahead and start charging. It's really frustrating though, because if something is over £1 on Mercari, it costs $11 to ship it out via USPS. And I just feel like that's such a deterrent. No one is going to want to spend $11 to get something shipped to them. So it's still something I'm struggling with and I'm going back and forth with. I used to do, where the buyer had to pay shipping all the time. And then I've recently moved to me paying for shipping. I haven't noticed a huge difference in sales, so I think that's what I'm going to do. Up to £1, I will pay for shipping. Over £1, they need to pay for it. I also really wish they had a padded flat rate option for shipping, but they don't. So I'll show you what I mean. If I say no, do not offer free shipping, let's say this weighed £2, but let's say it could fit in a padded flat rate envelope, which I think these are the dimensions, and they're saying that it'll cost $10 via UPS, $11 via USPS, and $11 on FedEx, which is crazy. So, there's not an option here to ship using a padded flat rate envelope. And so like I said, because it's under £1, I'm going to go ahead and offer free shipping. I will use Pirate Ship to ship it out once it sells, if it sells on Mercari. And then because of the fact that I will be paying for shipping and it'll probably cost me around $4, Mercari only takes 10%, whereas Poshmark takes 20%. So if I were to sell this on Poshmark, I would only make $40. On Mercari, I make $45, but I also have to pay for shipping. So even though I'm paying for shipping on this item, I'll still come out on top if this sells on Mercari for my $50 asking price versus if it sells for $50 on Poshmark. So for that reason, I'm not going to change the price on this. I'm just going to leave it as is, but I am going to turn on the smart pricing, and they actually like auto have it on. And the floor price is basically like what they're going to continue to drop the price until it hits this amount. This is the floor price. So they will like slowly change the price for me from $50 to $42 over the course of a few days. And by doing so, the idea is that this listing will continue to be somewhat near the top of, you know, the search when people are looking for this dress. Does it help? I mean, again, people say that it does. It's not like I've experienced a huge increase in sales when it comes to Mercari, so I don't know. But I'm going to go ahead and keep that on just so they can do that work of kind of putting it on sale for me over the course of time, and I will go ahead and list it. So that's what we did for Mercari. Not too different from Poshmark. They do have more of these like item specific type things than Poshmark does because I think they're trying to be a little bit more like eBay. But as you can see, because ListPerfectly helped us get a lot of information in here, it didn't take me as much time. So we're going to go ahead and cross list that over to Mercari. While that is listing, we're going to move on to eBay. So eBay has the opposite problem of Mercari in that they allow 80 characters, and so it usually leaves me with much more room to put in a lot of the keywords that I wanted to put in when I was listing on Poshmark and I wasn't able to. So now I'm going to go ahead and put in the word black because it is a black dress. I'm going to put in women's size small because it's a size small, and it is, you know, a women's piece. And I have 9 characters left. I could like finish writing out the word small. And some people will also say like to put the color and stuff at the end. It's really whatever you want to do. Whoops. I thought I cut it, but I copied it. So I have this information so far, and I think I'm going to just try to put in the word summer. Let's see. I'm going to put summer mini dress. I have 1 character left. There are a ton of other phrases I could have used. I could have used the keyword like sweetheart neckline. I could have used the word short sleeve, but I like how this looks. I like Free People Beach, Fit and Flare, hollow back, summer mini dress, women's size small, black. I think that, you know, gives a lot of information, and hopefully there are keywords in here that people will be typing into eBay's search and they'll find my dress. Okay. Now the one other thing I want to do, you didn't see me do this on Mercari, and maybe I should, but I just didn't care to. I'm going to really quickly look up comps for this particular dress on eBay. I talked about this in my video yesterday on how to price things, and it could make the huge difference because on eBay, you know, like I talked about yesterday, people on eBay are not so much about inflating the price as much as, you know, over on Poshmark, but people do tend to price a little closer to what they want to get for it. So we're going to look up Free People Beach, what was this? Fit and Flare hollaback dress. And let's see what we can find. So on eBay, I am not seeing the identical dress to mine. So for that reason, I think I'm just going to leave it alone at $50. Now really quickly, I want to see what other people are pricing their Free People dresses at. So here's like a 35, here's like a 25. This one's like 13. I saw some higher ones though. Here's like a 50, 67, 68, 30. 54. So even just looking at Free People dresses in general, I think it's safe to say that like $50, while it might seem kind of high, I think it's okay. Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and stick with our $50 price tag. But anyway, You can see here, you have the title. They have all these different options where eBay is just trying to take more money from you. I would not select this option to stand out with the bold title for extra dollars. No, thank you. You can put in a subtitle for an extra $1.50. No, thank you. This is where if you want to put the SKU number for that item, so let's say in your inventory system, this is number 45, you can put that in here just so when it sells, that automatically shows up. I don't do that just because oftentimes when I'm listing stuff, I don't even have it inventoried yet, but that is a really great option, and that's really cool that they offer that. I forgot to show that on Poshmark too. Poshmark also has something like that, and this is a newer feature of theirs, and it's really cool. So if you look at the listing, if I edit it, at the bottom, they have this section of the listing that is not visible to buyers. So right here where it says additional details, if you click on this, this is where you can do the same thing. You can put in here, this is inventory number 45. This cost me, let's say $8, and any other information you want to put in there. Maybe you want to put in there like do not accept lower than 20, because if you do, like, you're not going to make a profit. Or you can put where you got it if that's important to you. Like if you want to put Goodwill in Savoy, like, you know, whatever information you want to put in this little area, you can, and it's private, so only you can see it and your potential buyers cannot. So that is a really cool feature that Poshmark came out with not too long ago. But going back to eBay, that's what this section here is for. So this is where we saw, you know, it's kind of similar to Mercari, where you have to select a category and they have some pre-selected for you. But if none of these were actually accurate, then you can go into here and you could like search for categories. I could put in women's dresses, and then it would pop up all of the different options with those words in it. But mine was, you know, just women's clothing dresses, and that's the one that was shown right there, except now I got rid of it. Okay, yeah, so women's clothing dresses. If there's a second category, you can add that, like if this is not only a women's dress, but it's also like sports memorabilia, you could add a second category, but like they say, fees may apply. Variations. This is if, again, you are selling more than one of this dress. You're selling like 5 of this identical dress, but you have them in different colors and different sizes, then you would put that information here and you only have to pay for one listing on eBay, which is really cool. I don't know what this is. Maybe some of you do, but it's not mandatory. Condition, you do have to put something in. So I always put pre-owned if it's been worn previously. Obviously, if it is new with tags, new without tags, new with defects, those are the different options. And if this did have like a pinhole or the hem was coming undone, I do put that information here, as well as I know I already have that information in the description, but I just try to put it in 2 places. And I believe that whatever you put in the condition description, when people are searching for your item and they click on it, it shows the condition description italicized. And so it just makes sure that they see what it is that you've said about the condition of the piece. Okay, so there are my pictures. eBay allows for 12 pictures, which is obviously now less than Poshmark, but still a good amount. You can still get a lot of pictures up there and, you know, accurately show what it is that you're trying to sell. And then here is where we have a ton of item specifics that we have to put in. And you can see this is, you know, stuff that they have carried over from Poshmark just based off of the listing title and stuff like that. So the brand is Free People. Every once in a while, they will get this wrong. Like, I don't know why, like it'll just carry something funky over from Poshmark and it won't say Free People, it'll say something crazy. So definitely make sure you check. But this is Free People. The style is fit and flare, and it is a mini dress, so you want to select all that apply. And they have so many different options, and if none of these options fit, you can opt to write in your own. However, I have heard that like it doesn't really help you in search on eBay, if that makes sense. Like you have to go with one of the predetermined item specifics. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really know that much about it. I just try my very hardest to try and select from their list of item specifics as much as I can. So the size type, again, they're asking you to choose if it's regular sizing, plus sizing, petite sizing, tall sizing. You know, they have all these different options. So I'm going to go with regular. It is a size small that carried over from Poshmark. It is black that carried over from Poshmark. And now there's even more, you know, things to put in. You don't have to fill any of this out. Again, it helps. And they have this like little circle here, and you can see it's outlined this much right here. The more you can get this to close up, kind of like if you have an Apple Watch, like your rings, if you can get this ring to close up, that means you have a good number of item specifics, and it's going to help your item in search. So the dress length that carried over, it's short. The occasion, I'm going to say it's casual. And they had that kind of, you know, they have some options down here for you already sometimes that you can just select from. The sleeve length, it is short sleeve. This is a solid pattern. The material, let's look and see what the material is. And I like it because you can like enlarge your picture, and you can even like zoom more if you want. So this is viscose, nylon, and spandex. I'm going to remember spandex here in a second. You'll see why. But material, I'm going to look for viscose because that's the first word that they used. The neckline is a sweetheart neckline. And the fabric type, I usually don't fill this out because oftentimes it's not one of these things. I guess you could call this a knit dress. I don't know. I'm just going to leave it blank just in case it's not actually a knit dress. It's in the women's department. This one, I think you just pull it on over you. I don't think there's a zipper or anything. There isn't. So pullover. So that's a pullover. The sleeve type, this is if it's like a special type of sleeve, like if it's a cap sleeve or if there's a cold shoulder, a dolman sleeve. This is just a standard short sleeve dress, so I'm not going to put anything for that. Again, like for vintage, it's not, so I just put no. I think really this is only valuable if you say yes, but I just still put no. Additional, so you can put in some of these other item specifics. The theme, so they will, again, pull from different words in your listing. They're using the word beach here because it's Free People Beach, right? But I don't think that this really has like a beach theme, so I'm going to actually go ahead and get rid of that. Sometimes they'll just put random words in here that it just doesn't really apply, so you just want to make sure that you check that. The season, it is summer. If you want to get even more crazy and you want to look at other options, yeah, like you can do all this stuff. So like if this dress happened to be from Barbie, like you could select Barbie, you know, there's all these different things. I did actually want to put in though that for features, I want to put in that it has pockets, and I want to put in that there is stretch to it. So even though that wasn't showing up here as far as item specifics or even within the additional, I'm just going to go ahead and put that in for myself. I can also put collarless if I want. Again, like this is not all super important, but, and then if I want to put in like where it was made, let's see, this was made in the USA. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know Free People was made in the USA sometimes. So I can put USA. There's all of this stuff that I can put in if I want, but I'm not going to put it all in because it's not important that I put it all in. But now if we look at our ring, you can see it is so much closer to being completely filled out than what it looked like before. So we have a ton of information in here about this particular dress. I don't know why, but I feel like a lot of people on eBay price things with like the 99 at the end, so that's what I do too. It's really your preference. You could price things at $50, and it's not like people are not going to buy from you because you did that. But I'm going to go ahead and price mine at $49.99. I am going to charge only $4 for shipping, and I always go by the flat domestic shipping, which means that you are charging everyone, regardless of where they live, the same amount. I live in the Midwest, so really like there isn't anywhere that I could ship to that will cost like a whole lot more. Like it is one thing if you're living in California and someone buys something from me from New York, it does cost a lot more to ship it out to them because it's going to New York. But generally speaking, from the Midwest, like it's going to cost the same. So I usually go with this, and if I know something is like around 8 to 12 ounces, I will usually charge $4. If I know that it's under 8 ounces, I usually keep it at 4, but sometimes I'll move it down to like $3.50 or $3. If it's really close to a pound, I'll usually price it like $5 or $6. And if it's over a pound, but I can get it in a padded flat rate envelope, then what I'll do is I will select to send it in a padded flat rate envelope. And for me to ship that out, it'll cost $7.75. So that's what I'll charge. And if it's under a pound, I'm going to go with USPS first class package. You can do items up to 16 ounces as USPS. But if it's going to be over a pound and I can't get it in a padded flat rate envelope, typically speaking, I will go with priority mail. you know, there are reasons to ship using like a regional box. If it's a pretty heavy item, but it's not very big and it'll fit in a regional box A, that might be the best way to go. And then the other thing I wanted to show you is if you are shipping out, let me find it first. I'm looking for media mail. Okay, here we go. If you are shipping something out that is a book or like a DVD and there are no ads inside of the book or DVD, then you can send it out media mail. Same with like cassette tapes, VHS tapes, things like that. The reason why I say it can't have any ads in it is because technically you're not allowed to ship out magazines media mail because there are advertisements in it. So just a random little fact, but media mail is usually like the cheapest way to ship out those kinds of things. So that's typically what I do. I will, you know, price it at the same cost to all buyers. Because I know that this is under £1, I'm going to go ahead and say that it's going to cost $5 to ship out because it is like closer to £1 than it is to like 8 ounces. So it's probably 12 to 13 ounces. So I'm going to go ahead and charge $5 to ship it out. For the dimensions, because I'm going to probably ship it out in a compostable mailer, I'm just going to say 281. And then the weight, I'm going to guesstimate 12 ounces. You can change this later when you go to ship. And I'm not the best example here as far as shipping is concerned because a lot of people, smart people, what they do is they weigh stuff and measure stuff before they fill this out. I think that that's really important, especially when you're sending out you know, heavier, maybe hard goods and stuff. You don't really want to guesstimate at that point. You probably should figure out exactly what it'll charge you to ship it out so that you're not losing money at the end if you didn't calculate things correctly or if you didn't estimate correctly. And even today, I had a puffer jacket sell, like a down jacket sell, and I only charged $8 to ship it out, and it cost $18. So I was so infuriated, but I could only be mad at myself because I was the one that was like, I don't want to sit here and weigh it. It weighed like 3 pounds, which is why it cost so much to ship it out. But you live and you learn. So, you know, you should definitely do as I say and not as I do here. And that is you should weigh things out, measure things, and do all that before you put this information in. Right now, I'm not going to. So this is based off of my experience, what I believe will happen when I go to ship this out. I believe it'll, you know, weigh around 12 ounces. I believe it'll cost around $5. That's why I'm putting in that information. Promoted listings. There is a lot of debate around this. I know Rally Roots came out with a video like quite a while ago now, but you know, about promoted listings, and I'm sure that even regarding that, a lot has changed. I have gone back and forth between not promoting anything and then promoting everything at 1%. And then I started promoting most of my clothing items at 6%. Honestly, even with the 6% promotion rate, I did not really see an increase in sales. In fact, I feel like my eBay sales have been going down. So I have gone back to just promoting at 1%. I'm going to just keep playing around with it because that's the beautiful thing about reselling. You can just keep, you know, tweaking things here and there until you find something that works for you. That is everything for eBay. It does definitely take the longest out of all of the platforms just because they want so much information from you. But you saw how by using ListPerfectly, they were able to transfer a lot of the information over from Poshmark. So even though it was a lot of work, it was less work because of ListPerfectly. And by the way, in case you're wondering, I have the mid tier. If you use the highest tier of ListPerfectly, which obviously will cost you a little bit more every month, if you use the highest tier, they will actually transfer over even more information. So that is a pretty sweet deal when it comes to ListPerfectly's top tier. If you're interested in trying out ListPerfectly, I do have a link down below, and my coupon code is Becky Park with no space in between. So you could use that to save 30% off of your first month. And ListPerfectly does offer a 30-day guarantee, I believe. So if you don't like the service and you just want your money back after trying it for, you know, a week or two, you can absolutely do that. So I'm going to list the item. We're going to check and make sure that the other one's listed. Here's the Mercari one. It did go ahead and list. And the eBay one is still submitting my listing. It is done. Success. You've listed your item for sale. Huzzah. Okay. Last but not least, we have Kidizen. So Kidizen, I don't know how many characters they have for the listing title. I kind of feel like it's unlimited, but all I'm going to do here is I'm just going to add in size small. So because I can do that, I will. So now what I do is I select the category. Kidizen, you can only sell women's and children's stuff. So I'm going to select mama clothing. And now you can see they put in some of the other information like women, small, free people, all that kind of stuff. The subcategory is that this is a dress. The condition is that it is, we'll say, very good use condition. I feel like on Kidizen, people are very conservative with the condition. So I'll just put very good use condition, even though I think it could pass for excellent use condition. My description is carried over. I only have one. It is under 15 ounces, so I'm going to put medium for $5.75. Again, you can change this after someone makes a purchase from you. So if you happen to select the wrong thing, it's totally okay. I'm going to estimate that it's 12 ounces. The way that it works when you list online with your computer on Kidizen, you don't even have the opportunity to put in a shipping cost. This price right here includes the shipping cost. If you want to put in a shipping cost, you actually have to do that from the app on your phone, which is kind of cumbersome and super annoying. But one thing I do like about Kidizen is, like Poshmark, they tell you right here what you can expect to make if you sell it at this price. I don't think that this includes the shipping, however. Yeah, that does not include the shipping. So listing an item is free. You're supposed to put the estimated cost of shipping when you list. When the item sells, they will take 12% plus 50 cents. Based off of that, this is that 12% off of $50 plus the 50 cents. That's how they arrived at this amount. So it is less fees than Poshmark. It is more fees than Mercari. It's probably around the same amount of fees as eBay, but we are not able to charge for shipping right now. I can go ahead and change it later if I want to. I'm not going to. So I'm okay with listing it at the same price, knowing that I will also eat like, $4, $5 for shipping. With some of my other items, especially if they're not, priced as high, if they're like lower end items, I will like build in that shipping cost into the price just because otherwise I won't really make a profit on it. But for this one, I don't have to. So for whatever reason on Kidizen, I like to price things with a 95 at the end. I don't know why, guys. There's no rhyme or reason to it. But that's all it takes on Kidizen. It's really short. They just don't ask for as much. I'm going to go ahead and press submit. And then you will see that this always takes the longest out of all of the platforms to like finally get listed. But you'll see that it does eventually. There it is, and hopefully that gives you some insight when it comes to not only creating the perfect listing on those 4 platforms, but also why cross-listing with a Chrome extension like ListPerfectly is just so beneficial and so amazing. Hopefully you learned a little bit about how to list on Poshmark and eBay, and also, were able to retain some of the tips that I gave on how it translates, when it comes to Kidizen and Mercari. And I'd love to hear if you have any tips of your own when it comes to listing. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I am going to be hosting a listing challenge, and that is going to take place starting tomorrow, which is June 12th, 2020. And if you want to sign up for it, tonight is the last night to sign up, and down below in the description, there are 2 links. One is the official Google form to register, and then the second one is a Facebook group where it's a bunch of people who are also participating in the challenge, and we're there just kind of motivating one another and just making sure that we're all in the best place that we need to be in order to meet our goals. And I don't think I actually said what the summer listing challenge is, but essentially it is an opportunity for you to create sets of goals around listing, relisting, and cross-listing, and then to practice creating good habits centered around meeting those goals for an entire week. And this week I had a bunch of videos with different topics regarding how to be successful in achieving those 3 goals on a daily basis. And next week I'm going to be going live Monday through Friday with a bunch of other really experienced resellers. And during those times, you can actually ask any questions that you might have. We'll offer even more tips and guidance on different topics that have been discussed this week as well. And it'll just be a great way to keep you motivated as you're in the midst of the listing challenge. So if you want to make sure that you don't miss any of those live videos coming up next week, then make sure that you hit the subscribe button as well as the notification bell, because the notification bell is what alerts you anytime I upload any new content. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button. I don't know about you, but I am pumped going into this next week to try and meet my goals, which, in case you were wondering, my goals are to list 20 new items a day on Poshmark, cross-list 10 items from Poshmark to eBay and Mercari using ListPerfectly, and then I also also want to check and see which items are going to be ending on a daily basis on eBay and selling similar. And that's basically my relisting goal because that's the way that I relist on eBay. That's it for me today, guys. I hope that you're getting ready for the summer listing challenge and that you are as excited as I am. And I'll see you guys on Monday with Courtney from Common Tags, where we will be talking about consistency. So see you then. Bye.